Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Monday, the 1st of July, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASIC 200 closed down 0.2% today to 7,751 points. While Pro Medicus, the software imaging group, was one of the best performers last year, today it was the second worst, dropping 5%. Worst was Strike Energy after updating the market on the status of a gas supply deal with a Wesfarmers subsidiary. Wasn't good news. Its share price dropped 20%. The coal companies were among the best performers. Looking at the large caps, BHP jumped 1.6%, Rio Tinto 1.5%, Fortescue Metals Group 1.4%. Mostly the big banks were lower, while WiseTech Global fell more than 5%. Cochlear, REA, QBE, Suncorp and Xero were also sold off. Story number 2, in corporate news, Lendlease hasn't had a great time of it. 2 months ago, saying it will abandon most of its overseas operations. Today, it said it will sell its US military housing business for $480 million. That was enough to send its share price up 4%, and Lendlease said the price represents a significant premium to book value. Brambles replaced Xavier Garrigo, the head of its CHEP Americas business, after 6 months only due to cultural differences. Its share price fell 2%, and Lake Resources' share price was flat after the mining hopeful, with a flagship project located in Argentina's Lithium Triangle, said it will have to slash jobs and sell off assets as it faces lower commodity prices and searches for a development partner. Story number 3, big pay rises for 250,000 aged care workers have been delayed until next year. The Fair Work Commission today rejected the Albanese government's proposal to stagger the pay rise of between 2 and 13.5% over 18 months into 2026. However, given uncertainty over short-term government funding, the Commission agreed to phase in increases in 2 tranches. The first one, half of it, will be January 1 next year, the rest on October 1 next year. It will help the federal budget short-term at least, given the cost could be as much as $5 billion. A further 80,000 indirect carers, including cooks and cleaners, will receive their full 7% increase from the beginning of next year. Story number 4, the corporate watchdog has approved a new, tougher, self-regulated code of practice for the banking sector, which should do more to help out the small business sector. But ASIC boss Joe Longo has warned banks to behave and guard against the re-emergence of past problems, be that in the product sphere, around incentives for lenders and staff, or attitudes towards customers. Mr. Longo said the code should be considered a base case and standards should improve beyond it. For example, he wants the banks to be more proactive around helping customers in high fee accounts find a better deal. He was speaking at an Australian Bankers Association meeting. Previously, APRA Chair John Lonsdale pushed back on banks' calls for lighter touch prudential regulation. Anyway, most of the talk, though, was about the new self-regulated code for the banking sector. It provides greater clarity on the types of support available to all customers, including financial difficulty options for small businesses. There's a broad definition of vulnerable customers, which states anyone can become vulnerable at any time. The new code will also improve inclusivity and accessibility for customers, including via interpreter services, national relay services, and accessible information. And story number 5, Marine Le Pen's far-right party has beaten President Emmanuel Macron's centrist alliance in the first round of French parliamentary elections, moving the country closer to a potential nationalist government. After unusually high turnout, the National Rally Party won 33.2% of the vote, while the left-wing NFP alliance came in second at 28.1%. Third was Mr. Macron's Ensemble Alliance. It secured 21% of the vote. The projections suggest that National Rally and its allies are on track to win the most seats in the National Assembly and potentially even an outright majority in the final round of voting on July 1. If National Rally were to secure 289 seats in the 577-strong lower house, it would force Macron into the rather uncomfortable power-sharing arrangement known as a cohabitation, in which 2 opposing parties must govern together. Interesting to watch that one. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 1st of July, 2024. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, TikTok and Facebook. Join Michael Thompson and I tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed, the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.